uh, covering four African countries at the moment and expanding. I've also got projects in Switzerland and the UK as well. Always open to more, and so if there's anything I can do and help out with my expertise and assistance, then by all means, let me know. I'll put my contact details on the chat in a wee while. My background is over 40 odd years of experience in the fisheries and aquaculture and fish processing world. I had a successful fish processing and fish smoking business where we supplied into 5 rural households, 3 US presidents. We supplied some very smart hotels from Beverly Hills in the west to Tokyo in the east, Harrods and Selfridges and all these places as well, even Concorde up to the day she stopped flying. So picked up a good few awards on the way as well. Recently, I've just finished a term as chair of the West Coast Regional Inshore Fisheries Group for Scottish Government, and I sit on 2 fisheries and food committees in Scottish Parliament, and also another 2 all-party parliamentary groups for the UK government in Westminster. So that, in a nutshell, is all the things I do. Oh, and I'm also a television presenter occasionally for USA Global TV as well. So I wear a lot of hats. Thank you.
Wow, that is a lot. I think we might need to have another session just with you telling us all of your. All right, I will now invite Tony to introduce himself. I had the pleasure to meet Tony a couple of months ago, and I wish you all could meet him. Anyway, so.
Good afternoon. Tony Johns, native of East London, came to the Bahamas in the early 80s. I've been around the conch fishery for nearly 40 years, primarily around the pearl industry, but I've got to know the region and the Bahamas very well in that time. Now Bahamian national. I am the operations director for Blue Action Lab here in Freeport, Grand Bahama. My primary responsibility is to keep our conch hatchery up and running, along with the pearl culturing facility that we're looking at, with an expansion to a further sea cucumber and hydroponic sea vegetable expansion. So basically, I'm the guy on the ground. If you want to get anything done in Freeport, apparently I'm that man. So that's where we are. Hi, Maya.
Yep, Tony's definitely that guy. John is here. Well, I'll let John tell you all about himself, but yeah, also a great person.
Hi there. I didn't know I'd be someone speaking, but hi there, everyone. Yes, my name's John Reed. I'm with Waterfield Farms and Aquasafra. We're a tilapia hatchery in Florida. We grow a multi-tropic line of tilapia and adding in freshwater shrimp and mollusks to our line. I also, and Waterfield Farms is an integrated aquaculture, hydroponics, and shrimp producing facility in upstate New York. I also grew up as a kid on the island of Eleuthera in the Bahamas, and where I know Maya well from all of our adventures at the Island School and Cape Eleuthera Institute. So I've been all around the Caribbean in that context. But relative to aquaponics, the Waterfield Farm side, I ran what was at the time probably the largest aquaponics facility in the US. We were supplying over 650 supermarkets throughout the Northeast US markets. And that would be all the major supermarket chains. So Stop and Shop, A&P, Fieldmart, Walbaums, Whole Foods, all those brands. And we supplied a same day fresh model. So we picked in the morning, we had on the truck by 10, it was in the warehouse by noon, in the store by about 4:30 or 5. So if you're coming home from work, you could buy what was growing in our greenhouse, fish and produce, the same day. And so we had our
Is that the Supreme Fresh farm? What is the name of the farm?
Waterfield Farms.
Waterfield Farms, okay.
So we operated out of Amherst, Massachusetts for 20 years. We couldn't grow fast enough. So we've shut down the operation and we've moved it over to upstate New York. And next month, I'm moving a bunch of tanks into the new building to start up operations in another facility. But we did a range of herbs and produce. So we did basil, mint, cilantro, and arugula as our herb line. And we did tomatoes, and cucumbers. We didn't do peppers because the varieties we had didn't flower very well on the low light level issues that we had in New England. They do well in the Netherlands, but for some reason, the genetics didn't work for us in the Northeast, but that's just a small thing. So those are the core crops. And again, the key was pick, pack, and ship first thing in the morning, and then it was in the store the same day. So we call it same day fresh. So we did a whole distribution model, only shipping to stores that were within about a 3-hour truck ride distance from our facility. And then our model was to replicate other facilities 6-10 hours away. So we're always doing the same day fresh model. So there's a little bit about us. On the Aquasafra side, we developed a line of tilapia that are very low. Actually, there's an important detail here. Maya's shocked I haven't mentioned this yet. We have a low grade, our fish are bred to grow on low protein feeds. And specifically, we developed a grass-based diet. So primarily grasses mixed with other ingredients made into a pellet, which was fed to our fish. And then that leftover feed produced our shrimp, and that leftover feed then fertilized the plants. So we were growing on a grass-based diet. And we did that for about 12 years, where we grew everything on the grass-based diet. And the grass-based diets are cheaper. They're more climate resilient because it's grass, not wheat or soy, corn, etc. And it's carbon negative, so deeply carbon negative. Each acre of grassland sequesters 1.5 to 2 tons of carbon per acre year. So very focused on sequestering carbon and reversing climate change. And so we're really catalyzing the market with all of our other products. And there's lots of why we do what we do. One of which is catalyzing the market to really get grass-based diets as a predominant diet. If we can convert 30% of the corn and soy that's fed to animals globally to grassland-based feeds to feed to animals, we can, with that 1.5 to 2 tons of carbon per acre per year, we can sequester enough carbon in about 45 years to substantially reduce climate change. So probably one of the single biggest forms of carbon sequestration known to humanity that we can scale using a market-based force, not carbon tax credits or government subsidies or whatever else is out there that's paying for something that costs $200 to $300 a ton to sequester. We can make about $80 a ton to sequester. So I don't want to take too much of the conversation, but grass-based diets, we've bred our fish to grow on grass diets, and then our systems are designed to grow species that are being fed grass-based diets. So there's what we're all about.
And yeah, these fish are really good. But yeah, let's just move on really quick with some introductions. So I'll now invite Larkin to give us a couple words.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Larkin Root, and I'm here with one of my students, Alex Schroet. I'm a professor of aquaculture at the University of the Virgin Islands. And, my affiliation with aquaponics, I'm actually a little bit new to the field of aquaponics, but at UVI, we've been doing it for a very long time. So I'm trying to kind of bring myself up to speed on everything here. At UVI, we've been doing research on aquaponics since the early 80s. But we just recently started a bachelor's degree in aquaponics about 2 years ago. We opened the School of Agriculture maybe 3 years ago, and we're now offering about 6 different bachelors in different areas of agriculture. So, but my area is aquaculture and then aquaponics in particular, but I'm also really interested in other areas like seaweed production and bivalves, variety of different bivalves. So my background is in more of that finfish and shellfish production. So
I've been friends with Jeff Cosi, and he's been and visited our facilities there. So I know he's the early founder of your facility there.
Yeah, that's right. I haven't met Dr. Okosi yet. He spends most of his time in Thailand, I think, but hopefully one day, certainly when he comes to visit.
Well, Craig, if you want to say something real quick.
Hello, myself. Yeah, Craig. Basically, representing Sea Ranch Farms. We want to do obviously regenerative and sustainable systems with all the new technologies and everything that's coming out to live feed systems. So we want to have floating communities living underwater, sea ranchers, where we can grow, harvest, produce everything on board our systems, and so that we can ship local. So basically, the idea or the bigger concept is have sea ranch farms all around at different locations around the world, close to civilization. So, like John was saying, we ship local, we produce local, and we provide local. So we're reducing the transportation costs, carbon dioxide, going into our atmosphere for all the transportation, and using algae for biofuels, bioplastics, biopackaging. So we basically create a system where we're almost fully sustainable. We don't need outside resources. We can have everything either grown or provided on board our floating farms. So the concept we're just starting pre-seed round, looking for investors, looking for other advisors, and build up our executive teams and specialists so that we can make this project go forward.
Where you said you're based?
Right now, I'm in Newfoundland, Canada. We're just freezing our asses off up here. The cold snap. So I spent 3.5 years down in Panama working with ocean builders. So they're building communities on the oceans with sea pods, what they're calling. And there's a big movement. I mean, now moving on to the oceans. We're destroying the land, the fertilizers, the herbicides, the chemicals. And with current practices in aquaculture, we need to get away from using, monoculture, we'll say, and get into tropic fishing, 3D ocean farming, and get away from, using antibiotics in our fish. Every fish is, pumped with a needle, and we don't want that. We want to get back to nature. We want to copy nature, but enhance it so that it's regenerative to our planet. That's the vision for us.
Wow, impressive. Juliet, been on a couple of our sessions before, but tell everybody else who you are. Juliet? We can come back. Countrywoman Malika, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Malika Elibox. I'm from St. Lucia, and I'm new to aquaponics. I've actually just recently started learning, so I'm here for the learning, but I do grow seaweed. I grow sea moss, distribute and process into various forms. And I'm also building community where I teach youth from my community how to grow and process seaweed also. Sorry, my kids are screaming in the background because I'm babysitting today.
What community are you in?
Grozile, St. Lucia.
Okay, all right, nice. I'm from Castries, but I guess while we on the St. Lucians, Peter, you want to say hi?
Do I really have to? Okay, I'm Peter Imari. I'm a St. Lucian. I'm not sure which part of St. Lucia I've been. I had to live in so many different parts of St. Lucia, so I'm just say I'm a Lucian. I'm currently with the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism Secretariat based in Belize City, in the substantive post of Advisor Fisheries Management and Development. I have been in fisheries since the 16th of April, 1981, and I am the lead here at CRFM Secretariat for aquaculture. That's it. Enough.
We'll take that. Thanks for that. Now one of our youth group members, Matthew, you want to say hi? Five, four, three, two, one. I guess. Oh yeah, he said his mic wasn't coming on. Amina.
I think we have to get started, and then we can talk. We can talk again after.
Okay, well, Amina would have been lost anyway. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess we could do the rest of the meet and greets towards the end. But
Yeah.
just quickly introduce Dr. Camargo, who will be talking to us today. So she completed her DVM in Sao Paulo, which is where she's from, Brazil, back in 2005. And since then, she's also obtained her WAVMA certificate in veterinary aquaculture in last year. She's worked in different veterinary fields, including small animal general practice, clinical pathology, aquatic veterinary medicine. She lived in New Zealand for 10 years, working in commercial aquaculture hatcheries, doing some aquatic biosecurity management and surveillance, and also piloted projects developing new species for aquaculture. Quite interesting. Her main interests include sustainable aquaculture, aquaponics, which she's here to talk about, with a focus on food security, community outreach, and conservation of coastal areas. So I think that aligns with a lot of what we've already heard this afternoon, but at this point, I'll allow Clara to take it away.
Oh, thank you very much. Can you guys hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. So thank you very much for having me here. I have the honor of recently joined the Wicca community, which is the woman in the Caribbean aquaculture, to have met Maya and Julianne, and talk a little bit about what is going on in this area of the world. Because as you said, I'm originally from Brazil. I lived in New Zealand for basically the past 10 years. And well, I've been here in St. Kitts and Nevis, which is a very tiny island in the Caribbean for the past 2.5 years. And my role at the university I'm working right now, it is basically to teach physiology, which is not too much to do with aquaculture, but then we have a elective discipline that talks about, aquaculture production and the veterinary medicine for aquatic animals. And so we've been trying to, set up an aquaponics system here to serve as a teaching tool for the students, but also for the community, right? To bring the community here, to teach them water quality, the basics of the aquaponics, so then aquaponics can develop in the island. And I think the biggest reason Julianne asked me to give this talk today is because as we were talking last year and in the beginning of this year, is that each Caribbean island is very unique, and there will be difficulties, there will be good things that we can use. And so we then learned from each other what is going on in some of the islands and how we can actually gather as a community, like a Caribbean community, and to push projects forward, to talk with each other, to collaborate with each other. So my presentation, disclaimer, I'm not an expert in, aquaponics design or anything, but I've been participating lately in conferences and, understanding a little bit what is the latest technology, understanding a little bit more of the Caribbean situation and what each island wants from aquaculture and aquaponics. And so I put this presentation together with very basic information and a little bit of what is available out there. So then at the end, we can actually discuss and talk about a network to see how we can, empower this community, the Caribbean community, how we can collaborate with each other, and then bring all, this sustainability, small footprint, and so on. So then, as you can see in my first screen, we have a little aquaponics system on the side and then an astronaut, because we talk about aquaponics, what is possible, and really the sky or the moon or Mars is the limit. And it was so funny because yesterday when I was trying to actually find a picture to put in this presentation, I came out with this research that has been trying to mimic the Martian soil and see if an aquaponic system would work in Mars and also in the moon, right? And also here they found some certain bacteria in the spaceships that have been, going to the space. And this bacteria is part of, the soil and the way aquaponics system works. So then it was actually quite funny. I was just really trying to find a nice picture, and people are actually studying aquaponics to grow in Mars soil, right? So I'm not going too deep into that. So let's get to the next. So as we have people with big expertise here and people who are just coming into the aquaponics world, so I'll just talk a little bit about the basics here. But as most of us probably know, the aquaponics process is basically having fish and plants sustainably interacting with each other, right? So we really need this microbial community here, not only the nitrifying bacteria, right? But now we know there's lots of different genuses and types of microbes that are really important for the system. So there's lots of research going on in these days, really studying the microbiome of healthy aquaponics and mature systems, what type of bacteria present, enhance the resistance of the whole system against diseases and so on, right? So then this microbiome will convert the fish waste into something that is nutrient for the plants. The plants will take it, clean the water, and then we can reuse the water. So then it is a beautiful, sustainable way to produce. And so also in these days, there is a move towards using more species in the water environment, not only fish, right? So we are really maybe moving towards to have a multi-trophic system, so we can really use the whole environment, maybe associate crustaceans like shrimps and maybe bivalves as well in the system, maybe growing microalgae or macroalgae in the system. Basically, we are trying to move towards a multi-trophic zero waste sort of production when we talk about aquaponics. And so what was, mostly out there in the past and has been a lot of research and a lot of work done. Most of you will know the deep water culture, or DWC, right? Is one of the classic recirculating systems for aquaponics. So here we see the deep water, like a tank of water, and then you have the floating boards, and so your plants grow on top. There's different layouts here, right? Different designs depending what is available to you, the space you have. Are you doing outdoors, indoors, right? So there's little room to play here. So then the other classic recirculating system that's being well used is the media bed, and also with its varieties. So we have different types of media. We can even use gravel. I don't know if some of you have seen, but instead of using really big beds, we can also use pots like these ones. So then it's easier to move, is lighter. If you have a problem with one or two plants, you can, easily clean. So there's lots of advantages, pros and cons for each system, depending on what is your objective. There's also this other classic recirculating system called nutrient film technique, which is basically a PVC pipe where the nutrient-rich water just flows through, and the roots of the plants will then take the nutrients. And so this system is very nice to make it vertical, to save space. Right here we can see different crops, like a backyard system, a system producing flowers. So then if you want to know more about this very classic type of recirculating system and maybe make your own, and remember, we are discussing the Caribbean kind of area, and what is available for the Caribbean islands. So the FAO manual is quite good because it gives information on basically every single basic step that is necessary to set up an aquaponics system. And so here it teaches about water quality, system design, how to calculate water volumes, right? The amount of filtration you need to have for the water volume, for the quantity of fish and plants you need to produce. So this manual is really good. So the people starting on aquaponics, if you haven't seen this manual, I highly recommend for you to go through, because there's very valuable information here, right? So to highlight that this manual was published in 2014. After that, FAO have published few other, not entire manual, but little pamphlets with extra information. But basically, it is what is contained in this manual here. So then, if you do a quick search on the PubMed, which is one of these, literature search platforms and type of aquaponics, you see there is a growing body of literature, especially from 2014 onwards, right? And then especially from 2020. So we see here 224 results in this past basically 10 years, but the majority of the work done in the past 5 years or so. And so with research, with understanding better the type of system, the economics of the system, right? How to actually automate parts of the system, how to better track the changes, right? So then new models are coming up, new possibilities are coming up. So that's why I'm talking about the title of this presentation, Aquaponics, What is Possible. Basically, the sky is the limit, because with the technology we already have, right? We just need to focus on the area, the problem that we want to answer the question, and then the idea or the project will then become possible. So here I'm not making any advertise for any university or any company that I will show up in this presentation, but I just wanted to show here, for example, that this Purdue University in the States got a 10 million grant last year to then develop this zero waste pilot scale integrated aquaponics. So then the body of research is growing, and a lot of money have been invested lately in research toward aquaponics and developing new systems and so on. So then if we think about it, what we want to develop in the Caribbean islands, of course, we won't have all the resources that is available on the continent, like in the States or in Europe, for example, or even some countries in South America, like Brazil, which has an aquaculture industry quite developed, right? But I think that one way that the Caribbean islands and the communities here could benefit from this type of grant invested in aquaponics research is then maybe to pair up with universities in state, not just states, right? Here I'm actually putting a lot of examples on the United States, because I'm trying to develop collaboration and relationship there, because this is the easiest way for me in some kits to get grants and to get equipment and so on. But again, each Caribbean island will need to see what is best for themselves, and if they perhaps want to collaborate with universities or companies in other places in the world, right? So another example is the Texas University getting a $1 million grant to study the coupled system. We will get into the coupled system in a few slides. Auburn University, it is has recently published some results on feeding the fish with certain plant extracts and exposing that fish to a certain pathogen, right? And this pathogen, and so the fish develop more resistant towards that pathogen infection with only plant extracts as feed additive. So there's lots of different research going on at the moment, and lots of funding available to work towards projects that are related to aquaponics and the sustainable production of food. So then what I think is quite interesting is that lately, and I see, when I say lately, it's probably the past 10 years, maybe more, it is the integration of design and techniques from the aquaculture industry and from the hydroponic industry. So I think, I don't remember, maybe John was talking about the amount of light that wasn't available to you for the growing of plants in probably in the greenhouse. So then in these days, there is lots of technology available from the hydroponics industry and systems that are already giving solutions to this type of problems. I recently visit some places in the States where they are using this, different lightings and the way they close and open the roof space and so on to mitigate this problem. Sometimes in the winter is too little light and the summer is too much light, so you don't have the right growing. So then when we talk about aquaponics, we really can withdraw from the aquaculture industry and from the aquaponics industry this design and technology then to solve this type of problem. So yes, different vertical systems being adapted to the aquaponics setup. I don't know if any of you have heard about bioflux technique for aquaculture. This is well developed, is used in many countries. In Brazil, we have many farms using the bioflux technology for fish production, for shrimp production. Basically, you have a big soup of microorganisms growing here, which will serve as food for the fish or shrimp growing here, but also a way to make the environment packed with beneficial microorganisms, so then we avoid pathogens to grow in this system. And if we apply this technology for the aquaponics, so for example, in a decoupled system, we will get there in a minute, but in the decoupled system, we can get this, effluent, or that would be waste from the system, to convert to actually usable products. So the other very nice technique here is called aeroponics, which I thought was really, really nice. Basically here, you save a lot of water, because instead of having a deep water system or, media bed or whatever, you have this spray sprayponics, it's called as well, aeroponics or sprayponics. So basically, you have sprinklers spraying water-reaching nutrients to the roots. So then you save a lot of water. And I saw some projects that were combining this type of sprayponic system with also the growth of mushrooms, because it's another very good source of protein, and it is how can I say, the shelf life of fresh mushrooms is quite small. So if you can produce locally, it is a big product, food product. So I thought this sprayponics coupling the growth of plants and mushroom was like a very, very cool idea. I love mushrooms. Right, so then we're now talking about sustainable food production so far, right? But what else? Because we can grow many other things in these aquaponic systems if we want to, right? So here bring a little bit of the microgreens. It's still food production, but it is something that I don't hear too many people talking about. And for example, in Sun Kids, there is a big demand for microgreens. There is one producer that produces in kind of a hydroponic system, and he sells everything he produces. So microgreens is also a very good product to be produced in aquaponics setup. Flowers, right? So there is a big market for flowers, and at least in Sun Kids, and I don't know much about the flower industry in other Caribbean islands, but I don't believe there is a big production of, commercial flowers for, bouquets or whatever decoration. So it's a big market out there. Ornamental fish. Cannabis products. So, with all this new legislation about the use of the cannabis oil in different products, I just came across a very nice startup company in the US. I will bring some more information in a few slides about it. And the way they actually cultivate the cannabis is called a living soil layering system, which I thought was a pretty cool adjustment of the aquaponics traditional setup for what they need to grow the cannabis to whatever quality they needed, right? So another product that can come out of the aquaponic is fertilizer for soil, for food production in normal soil production. And so the decoupled aquaponic system plays a big role here. Other things is fish amino acids. So there was a company that out of a not so good batch of tilapia that was not growing well, there was no disease in the system, but they were just not growing well. They suspected it was the genetics of the tilapia. But I don't know. I don't want to get too much on these technical details right now. But anyway, instead of selling the fish in a smaller size or, to sell the fish for pet food production, which would be kind of a small money out of their system, they kind of digested through like a fermentation, very simple fermentation process, that fish that was not growing so well in their system. And they end up selling fish amino acids as fertilizer. And they made a lot of money out of this batch of tilapia that were not doing so well in their system. So then there's lots of things we need to consider when we are thinking about setting up a aquaponics system on those islands. So what are the needs for this community, and how can we get more money out of the system we're setting up, right? And so the other very cool product is tilapia skin collagen for production of biomaterials, right? Tilapia skin would otherwise be a waste product as well. But again, there's no waste. We just need to learn how to utilize all the material that comes out of our systems. So there is this brands already producing wound healing kind of membranes for animals already. So in veterinary medicine, we use skin tilapia wound membranes, to heal big wounds, like after surgeries, after big burn, and so on. But anyway, it's just another possibility to the aquaponics system we're setting up, not only, fish for food and vegetables for food as well. So let's get into the coupled system. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about it, but I thought it's a very interesting system. It's still lots of research being done on that and optimization of the process. But basically, you decouple, right? You separate the plant growing from the fish growing. So you have your hydroponics setup separated from the aquaculture setup, but they are close with each other because you will still use the fish waste as source of food for the plants. And the biggest advantage for this decoupled system is that you can better control water quality, especially if you talk about temperature and pH, right? So you might have a slightly different temperature and pH for your fish than to your food crop. Okay, so you can better manage that. Nutrient availability, because sometimes if you're growing like those fruiting crops, you might need to supplement a little bit your fish side, or sorry, your plant side with extra micronutrients and so on, and you don't want to add this to the fish. Maintenance and cleaning, right? So you can better separate your two units. If you are, making an all in, all out sort of production, you have how to dry your tanks and clean and do whatever maintenance you need to do. And also sometimes for food safety certification that is required in big markets, right? You need to prove that the plant side and the fish are, safe for human consumption. So that's through the regulatory system. The decoupled system might be a little bit easier to have your product certificate as if you had, the coupled system. But again, I'm not going too much into the technical details on that because we can discuss this after we finish, or we can share, exchange emails and talk more about these technicalities later on. Here, I just added some work being published very recently. I think the top one was published in 2023 and the bottom one in 24. Right, so they are all linked, and the material will be shared with you, and then you can access the information later on. So here is the photo of the cannabis production I was talking before, and this is the soil layering system. So it's kind of a media bed kind of system, but with this layering here, and I don't know exactly what is the composition of each layer of soil, but it's something that they have developed, and they have this best grow for the cannabis. They need to produce a certain amount, a standard of, the oil they are producing and so on. And so the other important concept here that I wanted to bring up for the Caribbean islands is that this company, they do the vertical integration of the business. What that means is that they have the cannabis production, so they produce the oil, but they also produce the balm, they produce drinks, they produce all sorts of derivatives from this oil, cannabis oil system, right? So they have this shop where they can showcase how they produce. So then the aquaponics system itself, it's a selling point here, right? And the way they present their brand and so on. So then the way they achieve the production they are doing right now is through this decoupled system. And basically you separate, right, the hydroponics from the fish. And the fish waste, it is more than these plants need, right, for their good growth. And so with this decoupled mineralization, let me put this next photo here. Right, so here they have the fish tanks where they have tilapia and they have koi as well for different reasons. We can talk about this later on as well. But basically what is happening, they have the recirculating system, and they have this specific type of backwash media filter, which is called polygazer, which is kind of innovation as well. It's been out there in the aquaculture industry for a while, but I haven't seen many aquaponics systems using this polygazer. And the advantage of this type of filtration system is here, as the water is coming through the medium, it is all the big solids is retained here. And from time to time, depending on your system, you have this backwash done by compressed air. So then you have compressed air entering the system and blowing up this media bed. And so all the big particles go down to this funnel, and then you can collect the sludge here. So this type of filtration system is very water saving. It's very economical in water. So it's not the traditional backwash system that you see in other type of setup. So then it works really well to keep the RAS system for the fish well maintained, while saving water and while extracting all the big particles that you then can mineralize it. And then mineralization means that basically you are further decomposing these fish solids, like the fish feces, the waste solids. And so there is some research already done in this type of systems. And after 30 days that you are aerating, mineralizing this fish waste, the nutrients that were available here when this fish waste just arrived, so you have 80% more nutrient available after aerating and further decomposing this fish waste. So then the decoupled system and this 30 days mineralization, it is really effective to really get all the nutrients that are available in the fish waste. Okay, that sometimes in our traditional recirculating system, we are not able to really use all of this fish waste, right? Sometimes we have this sludge that we might use to fertilize some soil, but this can actually become a commercial product. And so that's what these guys did. They now actually selling fish poop, like concentrated fish poop. And this was they were able to do that because of this decoupled system and towards this mineralization process. And of course, they did all the laboratory work to check, content of the fertilizer and so on. But this product is now commercialized. You can actually find this thing on Amazon. So then again, I just want to highlight like what is possible for aquaponics. Basically, whatever your imagination allow you to go towards, right? What problem do you want to solve? What do you want to bring within your community? What do you want to make available, right? So with all the technology, with all the research that is being done in aquaponics, utilizing these different design and techniques from aquaculture and hydroponics, then we have, infinite possibilities to make whatever we wanted to make. And so I think this is one of my last slides. The other big concept that I wanted to bring for the Caribbean islands to think about it, to think through, it is way more profitable if we could incorporate food production, art, tourism, and education. And what is these guys from Mexico are doing? So this company, Bowfish, right, you can access them on this website. They are located in Mexico, but they have collaborators in South America, in Colombia, in Chile, and they are also trying to implement this big system here in the States now. But basically, they've done a lot of research on, design and production systems. And they got to call this Aquaponics 5.0 towards zero waste as well. So here they integrate tilapia, shrimp production, microalgae production, food crop, right? Renewable energy like solar power and wind systems and so on. But ultimately, they make everything very nice and beautiful, right? If you go to their website, and again, I'm not being paid or I'm not advertising for anybody here, but I was just thought was very good ideas and very beautiful done, which we could take as examples, right, for the things we want to develop. But anyway, they use art as well from local artists to make their system then profitable on tourism, right, on agrotourism and also in education, because they bring youth, they bring people to learn about many things in their system, right? So this, I think it is something that we really need to consider when we talk about setting up systems in the Caribbean, because ultimately most Caribbean islands depend heavily on tourism. So why not, right? Use this already incoming kind of body of tourists to then get our business profitable. Two other products that are kind of new, and it's kind of startup companies, but I think it has a big potential to be developed and to be very useful for us in the Caribbean area. It is fish food designed specifically for aquaponics. I'm not really sure about this concept yet. I'm still making my mind around it, but please, people who knows more about, you know, nutrition and how to formulate fish food, if you can give me a feedback on that. They basically add more nutrients than the fish will actually gonna absorb. So it is, you know, in excess in the water. So it's a way to supplement the plant side. So this is their concept, right? This is their product. I'm not sure about this yet. I'm very open to feedback. And this other one, it is kind of little carbohydrate bubbles that are filled with these chelated micronutrients, mainly iron. But the girl who is developing this startup company and this product, she's adding more micronutrients. And the beauty of this is that theoretically this product stays just in the root of the plants and do not go to the water, right? They do not dissolve in the water and do not contaminate the water that recirculates to the fish. So it's kind of an easy way to supplement the plant side depending on the plant requirements for micronutrients. The other thing that I wanted to highlight that is a good source of information is the Aquaponics Association organization in the States. You can get a lot of material for free, and there's lots of companies associated with this association that, you know, can bring innovation and can help us to develop systems in the Caribbean. So I think I'm pretty much on time now. And my question for all of us now is, where do we want to go? What is the type of system we want to build? What is the purpose? Like, what problems do you want to solve? Right? Of course, food production is the main reason, but we have all these other avenues that we can explore to still bring more benefits to the community that will be working on these systems. So thank you so much, everybody. I'm not sure if I was too superficial. Again, I'm not an expert on designing anything, right? But I'm very used to use these different type of systems, and I really would like to start this conversation between this community here, this Caribbean community, and with the experts from the other parts of the world on how can we actually move forward and build a very nice, you know, sustainable way to produce food and to benefit the local communities that will be working with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Clara. You're surely giving us a lot to think about. Does anyone have any questions?
Amino wants to know if there's anyone that has experience with saltwater aquaponics or halophytes.
Well, I know Tony could definitely speak to that.
Yeah, well,
I'm happy to talk with her about that upcoming project with the FAU.
Yeah.
Clara, thank you very much, everybody. I have a hard stop. I will no doubt speak with some of you sometime soon. Thank you very much.
Definitely.
Any idea what time they will come for ice?
What's that?
Yes, can I come in? There will there be a copy of the slides available to us, please?
Yes, definitely. Just
Lovely.
like
Thank you very
appreciate it.
much. Thank you. So a very good presentation, very comprehensive. Thank you.
Thank you very
Be-
much.
Before everybody leaves, I just wanted to say thank you for coming. Thank you, Clara. That was very, very good. This is what we need. As you can see, we don't have a lot of Caribbean born persons on our call. And one of the things that we are trying to do is to increase awareness for aquaculture and research and innovation throughout the Caribbean because it's
You
not
have the
something
phone on
that
you?
we're
Yes,
well
I
thought
do. I
of.
do.
I'll call you as soon as I know.
Okay.
Okay.
And so we are trying to build a curriculum so that we can start putting it into the schools. We're talking about food security. We're just talking about livelihoods. And so we are asking if you can leave a donation for our presentations. We're going to keep this up for the rest of the year. We have so much to offer. We have quite a few scientists in our group, and we want to take the science and make it practical and business-like. And please, so I've left a link here. Subscribe to our newsletter so you can learn more about our events. And we hope to see you. If you don't have any more questions, you can leave them in the newsletter slot where there's a ask questions or reach out to Clara or to anybody in this presentation. So I want to thank you everybody for coming. If you want to stay a little bit longer, I can keep it over for another minute if you want to talk again.
I think I'll just stay over so we can wrap up everything.
Yeah,
Yes, if anyone has anything else to say, go ahead, Craig.
okay, great.
Yeah, for building up a network, I would suggest maybe look up Greenwave, Bryn Smith. I mean, they've done a remarkable job with regards to introducing people into seaweed industry and 3D ocean farming. And I know that a lot of people there want ask questions about growing in the tropics, and they don't have the experience. But if you can bring your experience to their team, to their network, it may be a way to, enhance both parties. Because, joining our networks instead of setting up something totally new and advancing it, may be more beneficial and move things along a little bit faster. So Greenwave, I believe it's .org or .com, and they have a fantastic organization. They have like about 5,000 people waiting to do sea farming and doing seaweed and cultivation. So it's a big movement that's happening now. So it's great to see that you guys are getting together and moving it for the tropics because I want to get back south.
Awesome. I just got their website here. I'll bookmark and I will look through it. Thank you very much.
The problem is, Craig, is that in order for investment to come to the Caribbean, we need a sustainable way of keeping it going. And we don't have enough young persons. We don't even have it in our education system. So we need to have more persons, Caribbean born, that can contribute to any of the investments that come to the Caribbean and startup that they can continue by working in their own home countries. So we as a hub, what we're trying to do is to bring our scientists together and collaborate from all over the world. Like you said, we're not going to try to recreate the wheel, but we need to create it so that it's culturally relevant to each island, because each island is different, and to also to make it available to the young people that are there in the islands. And so that's what our goal is for 2025, is to start bringing it into the education system.
Yes, I understand. I mean, small little systems, teach them, educate them how to build a system, how to maintain a system, how to grow a little bit of food for themselves, for the school, and then expand on that. I mean, funding is obviously a bigger issue. And I mean, from what I've seen, there's supposed to be lots of money that's supposed to be out there to help these
If you know it,
organizations.
tell us so that we can write for it and get it.
Yeah,
Well,
but
the UN has a lot of financing that they're saying that they're putting out there, but again, the smaller entities don't get it. It's all these
No,
bigger enterprises and
exactly.
associations And we need to redistribute the funding so that we can get, the roots into the ground, into this communities, the local communities. Having it up
Exactly.
there is not helping us down here.
Yeah.
So
No,
we
it's
need
not.
to.
And just a little word on that. So I was in the States last September for this aquaponics conference, and I was networking with many people around there, universities and companies. And there is one specific company there. They design different systems, and they are used to get grants in the States to develop projects and so on. And so this guy, he has this contact, and he has been developing the systems for Africa and other places. So I need to get in touch with him again, because there will be some funds from the states that will be available for outside states, countries and areas, if you if you get this collaboration with the US companies. So I think it could be an avenue for us to go through as well.
I
That's
just want,
awesome.
Wanted to say that I'm currently developing a proposal to work with high school students here in the Virgin Islands on aquaponics and aquaculture systems through the USDA. We have grant programs that are specific for the insular areas. That includes Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, and also Guam. But yeah, I'm happy to work with anybody who has interest in that.
Yes, we're definitely going to be reaching out to you, Larkin.
Great.
if I may quickly add, we at the CRFM Secretariat, we recognize that it's important to promote these systems in the region in a sustainable manner. The contribution to food and nutrition security, job creation, and all of these wonderful things. And we're expecting very soon to take this to our ministerial council to get the political directive from them, especially in terms of how our tertiary level educational institutions can be supportive of the work that needs to be done in aquaculture and aquaponics in their curricula, in a way that can really build a cadre of people who can support the development of this sector in the region. In that regard, we are seeking to revise our 5-year work plan for aquaculture development. And so we're expecting that with this, we'll be reaching out to member states, development partners, international donors, as well as guys like yourselves, to see how you can work with us to support initiatives for implementing what we want to do in aquaculture and by extension by aquaponics. Just so that drop that in.
Thank you, Peter.
With that, I bid you adieu. Gotta go.
Thanks for
Bye.
coming. Thanks for
Yes,
joining
thank you
us.
very much for having us here, and look forward to the next one.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
So I think if anybody else wants to say anything, I always find it hard to wrap up these meetings. I love these networking meetings, but I hope you took down everyone's information, who you want to connect with. And like I said, we're going to try to do these more regularly as a networking event. And so we look forward to if you subscribe to our newsletter, you'll get all the information there, and you'll see what we're going to have. And also LinkedIn and any kind of social media. We also have YouTube. So please connect and follow with us. And thank you again, Clara. Thank you so much, Maya. It was an awesome pleasure. And goodbye, everybody. Clara and Maya, however, please, I want to follow up with you guys. So
Oh,
bye.
good.
Right. Thank you very much. Then
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
very useful
Thank
meeting.
you.
Right.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Okay. Let me end the recording.